All right, I got 7:03. We've got a quorum. Let's go ahead and get started. We are recording this, so if Beverly needs it for minutes, we'll have that. You've got minutes in your packet from last month's meeting. If y'all want to look over that, I'll entertain a motion. I've got a motion from Lonnie Taylor and a second from Mr. Belcher. All in favor? All right. So we'll move on to our first item of discussion here. Let's start with the generator. Mr. Bransford, I heard there's some changes now on the bid that was put in. Would you like to come up and address the committee, please?
See the PO from we all proceeded with the order of the.
If you'll hit the button there, the speak. There you go.
Sorry.
That's all right.
As I was saying, I received the PO from y'all and proceeded with the order, and the days had run out on the quote
Okay.
and run into a few issues to the tune of about $12,500 extra and double the time. I think it was 10 weeks delivery is what was on the first order, and now they went to like 22 weeks.
And you said that increase was what again?
$12,500, and that's taking a little bit of a chance because they won't even tell me what the tariff could possibly do other than a guesstimate. But I'm willing to take that chance possibly, and you know, on my end. It's a little unusual situations going on out there now with a lot of things, so. I think it went to 22 weeks and it'll have to be increased that much.
All right. So that brings, not counting any tariff additions that get thrown on there, that brings us up to $92,442 on the generator with 20 to 21 weeks lead time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The budget amendment that was passed was for 80,000. So we are, well, we're 12,000 short. So when I found out about this information, the main reason that we decided, based on the discussion, to go with Bransford was the lead time. Seems the lead time now is the same between Capital and Bransford, and Capital's now, theirs was 80. You all have it in your packet. Theirs is 84,000. So they're 8,000 cheaper, and it's the same lead time now. And there is no tariff tax on theirs because they're using Taylor generators, which are all made in Missouri. So what we have before us now is a changed situation, and I'd like us to discuss, now that we are back looking at options, do we continue with the Bransford contract, or do we look at Capital and go that route? There is a gentleman here. I reached out to Mr. Mink. He is in Texas, but the gentleman from Taylor is here to answer any questions we might have for them. Is there any questions y'all have for Mr. Bransford? There's not. It is.
It is. And if you rebid it or give it to the next bidder, I mean, I wouldn't blame you one bit. So.
And this is nothing personal to you. I don't feel like
Yes.
you've done us any dishonest in the situation. Like you said, a lot's changing.
Yes.
With the tariffs that are hitting, I'm sure it's going to affect several different departments in our county as far as purchases. This is just the first one that's hitting. But with everything being equal now, I mean, there's a $12,000 difference here. So I think that's enough money that we need to at least discuss it to find out which way this committee wants to go. Now, looking at I know there's enough money in the Public Works budget to be able, if we don't need to go back and ask for another $5,000 out of ARPA funds from the full committee, that we can pull $4,000 from another line item to make the difference up. If that's what we need to do. We do not have enough, talking with Mrs. Thomas, that we can pull 12.5 out of there. We will have to go back before the commission and ask for that money to come either from another budget source or from ARPA. So my concern at this point, based on what Mr. Bransford just told us, the longer this takes us, the more expensive this is going to continue to grow. So my thought is we need to come up with some idea tonight to figure out which way we go so we can get this locked in before it keeps climbing any higher. So we have two options before us. Any discussion? Any questions?
Hey, if we get this 4,000 from, what'd you say, Public Works has a budget?
Public Works has some money in their budget to be able to cover this. We can just go back and try to get the 4,000 out of ARPA also. I don't think that'll be an issue, being the situation that has been presented to us. I've talked with Mr. Mink. If for whatever reason we go before the full commission and the commission says, well, no, we're just not, we approved 8,000, but we're not going to approve 5, which I don't think that'll happen, but just in case. He said he would be able to work with Cliff and they could work out that 4,000. Maybe Cliff's guys kind of help with some of maybe the removal of the old one or the concrete slab, and they'll work that out. The 12.5, I mean, you're knocking up to 100,000 again, which we were trying to stay under that. And was really excited about the 3 bids that came in being, all under 90,000. So I don't know. Hold on, Jeff,
Would we also have to wait another month for it to go through budget again, or?
we would.
That's not good.
So we're looking right now, no matter which option we go with, a 20-week delay. If we decide right now, whether we tell Mr. Bransford continue on, it's 20 weeks before we get it. If we tell Capital, it's 20 weeks before we get it. Really, you're looking now at a 12,000. Well, between the two, you're looking, he's 4, 6. You're looking at $8,000, $9,000 difference. So what's the will of this body?
Is that 22 weeks counting the extra month we're gonna have to wait?
No,
No,
that
That's
is,
tacked on. to it.
that is from, we say, we're gonna do it. The third one is actually, it's actually from Taylor. And Eddie here is the gentleman who, from Taylor, who actually did that proposal. They're using same generator, just a different installer. My concern with that is Caterpillar was 140, 160,000. Mr. Bransford was 79,000. Capital was 84. Their installer came in at what, 67. That's a lot of difference. And I'm concerned that they haven't been as thorough, and they're going to hit us for some extra charges down the road. I think Mr. Bransford and Capitals being as close as they are, I think that's pretty much everything encountered in that situation. And Eddie's here to answer any questions on that difference. I know there was an extra metal cabinet towards the end of this whole process that was kind of added in for the switch, because it was going to be put on the outside of the building instead of on the inside. And I don't think his quote had that in there, talking with him a little bit ago. So that would, that quote's going to come up a little bit more. So But he is here to speak if anyone wants to ask them questions as far as lead times from them. Capital actually makes their own generator, so he's not getting it, from an outsource. But Capital would be the ones installing it. Any questions for Mr. Bransford? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So sorry.
Well, I'm still waiting for the will of the body to find out what we're gonna do,
I
so,
understand. Just let me know.
yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, I do need a motion on this one. We've got to figure out which way we're gonna go. Okay, I've got a motion to go with Capital from Alan Carmen. Second one. Yeah, all in favor? Okay. Any opposed? All right, it is unanimous. We'll go with Capital. Thank you, sir, for coming. On that lead time, we were talking just a little bit, you're looking at the same lead time, plus or minus, just like they were looking. If you, yep, go ahead. It's all being recorded. It just makes it easier for everyone watching at home. Yep, there you go.
Our equipment lead time for the package you guys are looking at for the project is 20 to 24 weeks. And that's based on equipment release to production. So we are the manufacturer. Capital is obviously the contractor installer that we're working with. Clarifications. There was demolition in my project that I did not include, or there's demolition to the facility. The discrepancies, there was a lot of demolition that we did not include and removal components as part of the bid. So there's some costs, things that we weren't going to be doing, so that if we're later required would have increased costs. And then also the additional connection cabinet, we weren't supplying that initially in our bid. So there is a discrepancy that would have been there. But like I said, I am an equipment supplier and manufacturer. That's where our specialty is. So
Yep.
Capital is fine with that, but that's where our lead times lie.
Any questions for him? And I'm sorry, Eddie, I never got I don't remember your last name, and I apologize.
Zachary,
Zachary.
Zachary.
Okay. Just for the minutes, our secretary is not here tonight. Yeah. All right, so we've got a motion. We're gonna go with Capital. It's passed unanimously. Thank you, sir. I'll reach out to Josh and make him aware. All right, so next on our agenda under buildings is still, so the last discussion we had on the administration building, we asked for quotes on Rita's old office being added to codes and zoning, and Cindy's office being added to the current Public Works Secretary office, and what joining and remodeling those two offices were going to cost. I don't remember any motion being passed to do anything more than to get estimates on that. And no one said anything about who was going to be moving or going to which office. I merely stated that I had spoken with Cindy Carmen and that she would like to move. The mayor, whose authority is it to make those decisions on who goes to what space in the admin building?
As I understand it, that's up to the mayor as to who moves
Okay.
where in that building. Actually, no one discussed with me in any detail. It was just talk within the office. What seemed to make more sense was in Miss Rosalie's office, if she cut a door right there to give her more room in what used to be the county court clerk's office. And Cindy was asking for a private office, and when they opened up the kitchen, and then Misty moved out of the office behind that would give her a private office. So it seemed to make more sense to not flip flop the offices. Just to cut down on confusion. Plus, it would just seem to make sense to go from Rosalie's office through a wall and right there to expand her office and make room for her assistant that'll be hired. So that was my thinking.
Okay, so it is not the authority of this body to make those decisions on who moves around. It is the mayor's responsibility, your authority, where people go.
That's what I understand, yes.
Okay, I just wanted to get that cleared up because there seemed to be some confusion on that. I know at this point, the door has already been cut from Rita's old office into Rosalie's office. And the wall separating the old water department kitchen from Cindy's office is no longer in existence. It's been tore down. So now that is one big room that is connected to the old Public Works office through a door that's already existing. So that's all been done. And so since it's already been started, I was over there this afternoon looking at everything, talking with Mr. Salee on, okay, well, it's already been started. What's it gonna cost to finish it? And everyone stays where they're at. This gives Rosalie the room that she desperately needs for her department, and it does give Cindy her private office. I talked with Ms. Thomas again, looking at the budget. They have $35,000 in already line item budgeted for building maintenance, upkeep, and remodeling. So talking with Cliff, we don't think it's gonna cost near that much. But the money's sitting there for Mr. Salee to do as the mayor directs him to do. So there's really, other than us maybe giving our opinions, it's Rosalie's office. She knows how it needs to be for her to work in it. So none of us work in that office. So us interjecting our opinions are kind of, doesn't really make sense. As far as what? So if you'll look in your packets past. Okay. Yes. There was some understanding that someone other than the mayor had the authority to make the decision to move offices. And I wanted that cleared up on the record that no, that's the mayor's authority. That's his responsibility to set that. That's not ours. That's not Mr. Salee's. That is the mayor's. So that anyone can hear this and have an official statement. Yes, sir.
Motion to move forward and put this back in the hands of the mayor.
I've got a motion. Do I have a second? So motion by Lonnie Taylor, second by Jeff Gregory. All in favor? Any opposed? That is the motion passing. Is for the mayor and his department to decide how it needs to be finished out. It's his building, his authority. Let him and Cliff figure out what needs to get done. Since the money is there, there's not a budgetary thing for us to act on or to request from budget and finance of the full commission. So. Okay. All right. Now the fun stuff. Solid waste. So we've been talking the last couple of meetings about this increase we're gonna have to do. You got some numbers for us, Cliff? Yeah.
Okay, so, what we were proposing, earlier, we were just kind of taking numbers from around the area and getting an average of what we would be set at, and we came out at the 63.19 or 17. I have to go back and look, but it was actually a variable rate because of the distances from the landfills and things like that. So we set variables on how many times per month they dump. That was one of the big issues with the other people that do this type of stuff.
Mhm.
We kind of landed at $50. We went back and actually did, ran numbers on the first 6 months of last year and, 3 months of this year. And the 6317 is a little bit over. I thought it was a little bit high. $50 is a pretty good rate. We were clearing, by around $110,000 a year after all the expenses paid on that truck. The reason the tipping fees seem so expensive over the last 2 years is because of the convenience center, has taken in a lot more garbage than they used to. There's a lot more people in the county.
Mhm.
We're seeing it. Anybody that's been up there on the weekend is seeing it. It's just out of hand. So the front loader truck, I think the $50 increase would be enough. I know when Beverly and the rest of them were here, we were talking about the 6319 or 17 and up to $70. But it just seems a little bit high to me. That's up to you guys, whatever you want to do. The numbers are there on the last page. You can see the $50 increase on the very end out there versus what we're doing right now next to it, I believe. Yeah. It's gonna be a big impact on people like the school system. School system's emptied, they've got 5 cans that are emptied 5 days a week, almost, throughout the year. Sometimes we'll go to 3 times a week in a few weeks during the summer, but the school's an active, part of our system, all throughout the year. There's always garbage, in their cans and we try to keep those empty. Another one, you just take Piggly Wiggly, for example, he's 3 times a week. To double his fees to 70 is it's just gonna, it's a lot. It just seems like a lot to me.
Okay, well, we've got an ordinance here, a proposal of an ordinance on the door-to-door trash collection fees. That's the increase on the residential. That's where you can see where it was, and you can see what we're proposing, what this ordinance would propose it to go to. So there's your increases. Now, Cliff, on the business customers, that is the dumpster pickup, correct?
Yes, sir.
That we're looking-
That's the one we're most interested in, to get this one resolved. The other one, we'd kind of already had that hashed out. I think it'll be fine.
Mhm.
I've talked to several people about the $5 increase. I hadn't heard any real issues with it. It's something that has to happen. I mean, everything's going up. It's just part of it. But these dumpster fees kind of got thrown off by the generator deal, but
Yeah.
the dumpster fees, I think at $50, we've had several new customers come into town. They have businesses in the surrounding counties. A lady came in last week, well, that has a dumpster in Gallatin and she's paying $147 a dump in Gallatin. Along with this $50 or whatever you decide to do, we would like to start putting a setup fee on there. Probably $100 to $150 setup fee. And right now, if you don't pay your bill and I have to come get your can to reset it, it's $50, and we'd like to get that up to 100 or 150. It just takes, a great deal of time out of the day to get 2 trucks, 2 drivers and go pick it up or bring it back.
Mhm.
Even the initial setup, it just takes time to to get all that together, and $50 just don't cover it anymore.
So let's start there. Set up on the dumpsters fee. We're at 50 right now. Does this body want to raise that? Do you want to take it to, if you do want to raise it, you want to go to 100 or 150? What are your thoughts? Do me a favor and hit your button for the recording. I know you don't like it, but
I would just think we'd go off Mr. Salee's recommendation.
okay.
I agree 100%.
So motion,
Motion to run with, Mr. Saley's suggestions on the rates.
on at 100 or 150?
Cliff? To clarify?
I think 100 will be fine. Like I said, I'm not trying to put pressure on these people in business, just trying to make a living, but we got, we got the same problems.
Motion to go with Cliff's, rate increase to $100.
Okay, so just to speed the process up a little bit, do you want to also include a reset up fee at $100 also in that motion?
Absolutely.
If you don't pay your bill and they have to take your can, you want. So $100 to put it back. Okay. Do I have a second? Okay, Amber Russell seconds it. Lonnie Taylor makes the motion. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, it passes. I will get that added. Do y'all want to do this all in just one ordinance as an increase to solid waste, or do you want to keep it separated from residential and? Okay. So then the ordinance that we have in our packet, then that first, service one time per week for residential, we'll just separate that out. And I'll bring you back a finished, well, no, I don't think. I think once if that's what you want to do, and we're all in agreements that the $5, that's what we agreed on at the last meeting. I'll just get that separated out and that can go forward this month onto the full commission for a vote. Yes, sir.
All these are door to door. These that you see considered business customers.
So these are not dumpsters. These are just regular cans.
These are businesses like Minute Mart has 4 of them.
Okay,
These would run as, they don't need to be separated.
okay, so this
These are
is,
all door to door pickup. Yes, sir.
okay, and so we need to do a separate for the dumpsters.
The dumpsters is the next, last page, and that's the one we'll have to talk
Okay.
about. Yeah.
All right, so that being said, let me back up here. On this ordinance then, is everyone okay with this? Do we need, I need a motion to send this forward.
On the business customers, if they got 4, is it still the one price to dump 4, or is?
It's supposed to be, 3, maximum of 3. We're working on the other ones. I've got some people that's just gotten away with it. Instead of having a dumpster, they're paying a little bit more, but I think that's the biggest one we have right now is 4. Everybody else, Dillahay's has 1 sometimes she'll have 2. Most everybody else has dumpsters. The Hartsville Taco Company down here, they have 2 trash carts, but they also have dumpster service as well. So most of them that have carts have dumpsters.
The garden center's got 4, that's why I was asking.
All right. Anything else? So do I hear a motion to send this forward? This ordinance for the door-to-door pickup? Ms. Russell?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, I've got a motion. Lonnie's giving me a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, I'll send this forward as written to the full commission. All right, so we've got that. We've got, so residential is taken care of. We've got an ordinance that's off our plate. So now we've got the we've got dumpster pickup to look at now. We've already established the dumpster fee. So that's your initial, you're new to the area, you want a dumpster dropped. It's gonna cost you $100. That helps offset the cost of us having to buy a dumpster. So that helps that problem. So now we're looking at the rates here, and I'm sorry, Cliff, I'm looking at the numbers and I got lost. So if you can help me a little bit here, so.
Right now, let's say the school system gets a 100 to 102, 105 dumps a month, usually around
Yeah.
102 dumps a month. And during the summer, it's 60 to 80. So at $35, you can do the math. It just, like say Piggly Wiggly, we'll just jump to them. They're 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So that times 4 is how many they'll actually be getting, 12 dumps for the month.
Mhm.
And you can just take those 12 times 35 times 50 and kind of get those numbers. But, I don't know. We were talking higher numbers, earlier in the previous meetings just because, we didn't know exactly what this truck was doing individually. It was actually kind of looking at it as the entire 116 solid waste fund.
Okay.
And that's, we have more roll-off trucks and stuff like that, compactor loads that come out of the convenience center. It's not just this truck generating that 116 solid waste.
Okay.
So the numbers we ran, we were comfortable with 50. I think it'll be a good one. That just seems like the best bet for me. My driver, lead driver and supervisor's been over there with me. We've run through numbers every which way, and I could bring them in here, but you couldn't read my writing. I feel like 50 is the best deal. The problems we're gonna have is with the schools. The schools were wanting to do a deal for a certain amount of money for the year, and this is gonna be a whole different ballgame to discuss with the schools. I don't know how you wanna handle that.
Well, and you and I were discussing that, and I wasn't aware of this issue, but so just to catch everyone else up, apparently the schools budget X amount of dollars for trash. And when that money runs out of their line item, they just quit paying. If there's still more school left, Cliff's still doing it, but the county is eating the cost. Well, we have to make budget amendments when we don't budget enough money. I would expect them to do the same thing instead of expect the county just to give them more. So we've got to, that's got to be addressed. If they want to do a lump sum, that's fine. Cliff's got enough years to look at to say, okay, this is how many times it takes me to, how many dumps the school system does, and here's the new rate, so here's your new cost. If they want to do it that way, but I don't see how the school system's any different than any other customer that we have for solid waste. Especially since end of the years, I would think would be where they were dumping the most, cleaning lockers out and kitchen stuff and whatnot, so. Yes, sir.
We're talking about them box dumpsters, right? The
Yes.
square ones.
The
So
big steel
they get a
dumpsters.
fee just for the dumpster, and then do you have to weigh it? Do they weigh it and then they
No,
get charged?
it's per dump, correct? So it's $50 per dump
$50 per
is what
dump.
we're talking about moving it to.
A lot of times we'll go through the county, just say one day we run all day and dump 25, 30 cans. It may not be 11 tons on the truck. lot of trash cans, dumpsters. The big dumpsters may not have 2 or 3 bags in it. The next one could be completely full. Those weights vary, but the $35 we're charging to dump, way offsets the money we're spending at the landfill, because like I said, we may dump 35 or 40 a day and then take 10 tons to the landfill. So $350 versus 35, dumps at $35. $37 at the landfill. I'm sorry. I keep saying 35. That's my fault.
So
Another thing I'm working with on the school system, we've got budgeted this year is some new cardboard, dumpsters. They look just like the ones that you see around town, but they have a small mailbox slot in the front of them at the top. Is to encourage whoever's it's a property it's sitting on to break the boxes down and put them in there, and then we'll run a truck once or twice a week or once a month, however many times it's needed to keep those serviced. There'll probably be a small fee included on those too, just because we can't do it for free. We've done our cardboard recycling for years in Hartsville for free, just so we could keep our recycling numbers up. But, the costs now are just not offsetting the numbers we'd like to see. We're gonna have to start including a small fee on our recycling services. In my opinion, that's up to you guys, but I think we need to.
Okay. So the proposal is, increase for dumpster pickup up to $50 per turn, per dump on our commercial businesses. What are your thoughts? I mean, Cliff's laid it all out for us. We've got an increase in cost on our dumping in general. This is just bringing us up to a reasonable amount.
Motion to approve.
Okay.
Rate of 50.
Do I have a second? Raising it to $50. So I've got a motion by Lonnie and I've got a second by Jeff. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. It passes. All right. You got anything else, Cliff? Cliff, is there anything else that I've missed? We've got the residential taken care of. We've got the setup fee and dumpster. Is there anything else that we need to go over?
Is it possible to rescind that and discuss that a bit? Can I make a motion to rescind that?
It was your motion. You make another motion to rescind your motion
I
and,
make a motion to rescind my motion so we can open it up for further discussion.
all right, do I have a second? Jeff, you were the second on it. Okay, so have a motion and a second to rescind the previous motion.
So any of you guys can pick up your phone. You got a calculator on your phone. Let's
Let-
just.
We gotta finish.
Cliff, hold on, let me get this vote done and then we
Okay.
can go to
let's
discussion.
Get it. I'm tired. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Sorry.
All in favor?
All right.
All right, any opposed? All right,
Sorry.
so let's start this over. All right, what you got, Cliff?
So you can just, even the school system, like I said, at 102 times a month, you times that times $35, you get a total. You look at $50, you get a total. It's reasonable.
Mhm.
$70 is not out of hand. Last time we had this discussion, there were a couple of them that were interested in raising the rates even higher. It hurts me to say we need to do that to the store owners and the people of this community. However, you go 15 miles to the west and they're paying $147 a dump. So there's a way we can set this up to where it varies by how many times a month you dump. We brought that to the committee, 2 meetings ago. It went from anywhere from $45 a dump up to 73 or 74, maybe it's $77 a dump with a 2 dump a month minimum. So we can do just about anything we want here, but it's really up to you guys. I think it should be 50, but there's a lot of people that think it should be more. I mean, at 50, we're paying for the truck, we're paying the bills, we're paying, buying our dumpsters. But, we're not keeping everybody in real good dumpsters like I'd like to. These dumpsters don't last as long as they used to. We used to get 12 to 15 years out of them. Now we're getting 4 years. The bottoms are rotten out of them. We're having to replace them. So they're just not lasting like they used to. There's a lot of things that go into this. We're making money at 50. We're doing all right at 50, but again, it's hand to mouth, we're not.
Okay. So that being said, I mean, at $70, you're doubling the pickup, which I'm not opposed to that. Cliff's making a very good argument. We've been undercharging for dumpster pickup for a long time.
It's been at 35 since I started working here. I've been here 19 years.
So I would think after 20 years, the price would have doubled if we were gradually increasing it with the cost of everything. But what does this body want to do?
I was just concerned about it because I know Cliff and them piece stuff together, just trying to get by. Maybe having him a little extra, and they could go up next year too. And then, you have to try to. But if you raise it, people's gonna be upset. By the time they get calmed down and you have to raise it again, well, they're upset again. So why don't we give a little wiggle room?
And another way to look at this is, we offer this recycling for free to all. It just so happens to be that all of these businesses that have a dumpster service. So, that could be part of it. We could fix it to where that includes the recycling and make it 60 or 70, 75, whatever you want it to be. That would be easier than me coming around in a month and say, well, I'm fixing to start charging you $35 a month for your recycling as well. So that may be a easier pill to swallow. I don't know. That's something to think about.
Well, my thought is if you're not charging them a separate fee for recycling, you're still encouraging them to recycle. If you start charging a separate fee, we're going to get less businesses recycling, and then that's going to put us in a problem with the state on how much recycling we're doing versus dumping. So I really like the idea of combining the two myself.
Another thing we're doing with the schools this year, these dumpsters I'm talking about, we're gonna place those in the school system, so we've never had any type of voluntary recycling from any of the schools here in Hartsville. So I've talked to Mr. Gully and Mr. Satterfield about it, about setting some mail slot dumpsters that would take just cardboard only and try to get them into some of our recycling as well.
All right, so 70 has now been proposed. Do I have a motion?
Is that gonna be a flat fee or?
It would be a flat fee. Anytime you get your dumpster dumped, it's a $70 charge. That includes the cost of your dumpster
Right.
being replaced. It includes your recycling and the increase in cost of us having to dump it at Smith County.
So somebody getting it done once a week is gonna pay 70. If they get it done 3 times a week, it's gonna be 70 times 3.
Yes, sir. I am understanding that correct, right, Cliff? This is just a flat every time you dump.
It's per dump. We've got a thing set up that we could put into the system where it depended on how many. It varied from one time a week was in this one. I think so.
Is it included with the minutes from?
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. It is
Included in the minutes from last month's meeting. If you look on page 2, you can see those dumpster rates listed.
Yeah, per week, or how many times per week? It could be a variable. Misty's getting a new system, we're gonna put in that would actually do the billing and make this feasible. But if we upped all this 10% or 15% and included the recycling numbers in it, then that would be fine too.
Okay. Well, that would be less, a lot less of an impact to say the ones that are doing 4 times a week. Going from 52 to 70.
And 5 times, I mean, the school system, like I said,
Yeah.
100 times a month, you know, that's a lot.
School, if they don't wanna participate in the recycling, then they'd be charged accordingly to everybody else. And if you wanna set up the recycling with them, then maybe we can come up with something there.
Yes, sir.
Under the current system, Cliff, how much is the county eating with the school system? What's it?
I don't have those numbers. We brought it up last year and we were getting close to it. And I brought it up that we were gonna run out of their budget soon. And one of the commissioners made the statement that they're paying right now. So it kind of got skipped across and we moved on. But
Every year before budget time, Dr. Satterfield calls me out to discuss what he's asking for.
Mhm.
And this year, he said he just asking for a little bit. If you can get me a figure, Cliff, when I go visit with him, we'll add that to his budget, because there's no reason why as prices go up that we take that on in the mayor's opinion. So if after this committee and the commission decides what that rate's gonna be, if we can come up with a figure, then I'll discuss it with Dr. Satterfield.
Sorry, I'm wanting to do a quick figuring. All right, so on the just looking at a 15% increase, doing it that way instead of a flat rate, the once per week, that's a $9.47 increase. So that bumps you, actually a 15% increase will bump you a little over the 70. So just to give you an idea, that the 70 flat per dump is actually cheaper than doing a 15% across the board increase. Until you get down into those 4 and 5 time ones where it takes quite a bit of a drop off. And then you're really hitting those guys hard. So you're kind of punishing the higher multiple pickups doing it that way. Yes, sir.
Ain't that the proposal we got on the last time we was here on the rates that he wanted to take them to?
Yes, but he was gonna come back with the
Right.
numbers. So those are a little out of date, but they're close.
Right.
Yeah.
So if the one could be 70 and then the rest of them was like it's $7 different, $7 higher.
Yeah.
It would be something to look at. I don't know.
Is that a motion?
I mean, it's just like you're saying, somebody dumping 3 times a week compared to somebody dumping once. It's gonna be a whole lot harder on them than it is the one, you know, but
Yeah. At the
It's-
same time, that person's also dumping more trash, so it costs the county
Right.
more to dump it.
it's just a suggestion.
Yeah. No, and that's what we're here for, to talk this out and come up with the best plan for the county and the community.
How much
15%, on your once per week, that 63.19 comes out to $9.47 of an increase. Cliff was saying Gallatin's 108?
what,
It's over double.
147, 147.
So I don't think that this is about.
Okay. So are you wanting to do the 15 across the board or just do 70 for every dump? What's,
I would like to
Bef-
defer that to Mr. Saley.
Well, before we set this, the reason we put this off and was gonna circle back is just
Mhm.
because I wanted to make sure the truck wasn't losing money itself, and it's not.
okay,
Like I said, we're clearing around right at $100,000 a year. But if I go back and do the dumpsters and all that stuff and say, even buying 10 new dumpsters a year, we're still clearing $100,000 a year. But we went from 60-something businesses taking dumpster service in the community to we got 110. 108, we got 108 now, so we've almost doubled. And it's hard to keep those dumpsters up. I really need another guy, part-time out painting them. We try to keep them looking neat and paint keeps the rust away from them and extends the life a year. So there's a lot that goes into it. So a little bit more after I pulled the numbers, a little bit more, than what we proposed. But I don't think it needs to be 147, but we've got to do something about the 35. We've got a good scale system here. What we pulled originally is not a bad number. It's a working number. And we went with the mileage, we did the mileage, we ran numbers on everything.
Mhm.
And listen, I had all this in my head, but the wheels fell off this morning, so
I understand.
I'm running around in circles, and I apologize for it. We had a meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning, I put on a hell of a show, but it's been a long day and I apologize. But I think this is a good deal right here if we raised it or kicked it up 10 or 15% like you were talking about.
Okay.
Somebody just dumping once a week or twice a month, needs to pay that. But, that's here too,
Mhm.
If you want one dump a month, it's gonna cost you $146.65 because that's paying for the dump, but it's also paying for the dumpster, the life of the dumpster as well. So it's all here. I like it. If y'all want to raise it 10%, I wouldn't have or 15%, I wouldn't have a problem with that either. So.
So what I'm hearing is a suggestion to do 15% across the board increase on our dumpsters to cover recycling, replacement of the dumpsters and maintenance.
On what I have here on page,
On our last page there.
no, the one, that's got the variable rates.
Okay, on
You
the
don't have a
minutes from
variable
last
rate?
month's meeting. Should be your second page. About middle of the page.
Bonnie don't have.
No, so of this month's agenda, your minutes from last month, middle of the page, it says dumpster rates. Yeah,
What did you say 15% come out to on once a week?
on the once a week, it was $9.47 in addition to the 63. So it's a little over 70 on the once a week.
I'll make a motion, to raise 15%.
Okay, I've got a motion. Motion by Alan Carmen, second by Lonnie Taylor. Any discussion? Jeff?
That's on these rates here, every one of them.
15%
It
increase
won't
on
be a
each one.
flat rate. It'll
No.
be just like this.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, motion carries. 15 across the board.
Thank y'all. I apologize. I'm just not here.
That's all
I'm
right.
trying
Cliff.
to be here. I want to be here. How about that?
All right, well, that being settled, unless there's any rescinding motions,
I would,
Yeah.
we talked about sending a letter or something to the residential
so-
side.
I talked with the water department about that. Because the residential side is only for the urban district, they can't send a letter out. It would have to be in the I think it's 135 characters. at the bottom of your bill is all they can do for the urban district. They don't, their system won't allow them to break it out with a letter. The letter would go to everyone. So. We can do that. So, and that would give us more than 135 characters at the bottom. But yes, I talked with Emily White, and with that verbiage, if we want to send it out to everyone, she can get us it will be a charge to the county for doing it. Cause you got to pay the printers and whatnot to, but. Yep. Yep. So we can get that letter put together. I gotta find out. So this should be able to go to budget and finance and then go to the full commission. If budget and finance picks it up this month. I've got to find out. I'm still trying to learn what authority we have in this committee as far as setting fees and what has to go before the full commission and what we can just authorize Cliff to do. Okay. That's my thinking, but I might be wrong. Ms. Thomas has corrected me multiple times. So I will check with her and I'll have an answer for this for you guys. I will make sure it goes to the correct places it needs to go to. If this is just something us authorizing Cliff, then we've authorized and he can move on. But if it needs to go for the full commission, then we can do that. She did do the ordinance for the residential because that's the way it was done the last time there was a change when she looked at it. So that will go before the full commission. But as far as the dumpster pickup, I've got to look into that. Yes, Cliff.
The residential cans damage replacements that we decided that we were gonna continue to do that, correct?
Yes, that was going to be included with the new increase in fee, the
Okay.
$5.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right. If there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion is adjourned.
Got him. And so Jeff's the motion and Lonnie's the second. We are adjourned.